Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
We're going to begin at 5 with Detroit police officers opening fire on a carjacking suspect. Brand new video showing how the entire incident went down.
Tonight, we are getting our first look at brand new video of officers opening fire on a carjacking suspect who intentionally rammed squad cars.
This happened Sunday night at the Citgo station on 8 Mile in Glastonbury, just west of the Southfield Freeway on Detroit's west side. Sean Lay just got an update from the chief. What's he saying about it, Sean?
Said his officer could have been crushed because this car was coming right at them at that Citgo gas station. They were looking for a white SUV that had been carjacked. The driver, so desperate to get away at that gas station, he drove over the hood of the car of a police vehicle, and an officer was right there, falling to the ground, was almost crushed by that car. Take a look at the picture just released by Detroit police within the last half hour or so to us as Chief White was giving us an update on this. If you can see that officer kind of tumbling to the ground there at the Citgo gas station parking lot, that's that white SUV coming over the hood of the car of one of the unmarked cruisers that were tailing the suspect in this case. I'll tell you what, that was a wild situation where officers had to shoot as that car was being used as a weapon towards them, fire shots into that car. 3 young men were in the car. They were not hit by any of those shots. We found video of the actual incident of that car backing up to get away and then going over the hood of that car. Absolutely wild situation indeed, where police had to fire shots. Tonight, police identifying the driver as Michael Malik Brown. They are looking for him right now, saying he is very dangerous.
Our officer had to literally roll out of the way as the vehicle was attempting to run him over. The officers fired multiple times, but we do not believe at this time any of those shots took effect. That firing those shots were within our policy guidelines. My review of the video showed that to be the case. We are searching for the driver of the vehicle, and we are asking our community, who has come through for us many times, to do so again tonight and to provide us information on that suspect before he injures anyone else.
All right, back here live. So that's Michael Malik Brown. Photo, mugshot will be on clickondetroit.com and our Facebook page if you want to share that. Coming up at 6 o'clock, the shots didn't end there. K-9 officer with other Detroit police officers went into a backyard while searching for the guys that ran from this shooting incident up at that Citgo gas station. Fired a shot, killing a dog. That dog ended up in a neighbor's trash can. Tonight, the owner of the dog, absolutely heartbroken and outraged, demanding answers from Detroit police why they didn't tell her about this incident while she was home, while her dog's remains ended up in a neighbor's trash can. Again, another twist to this we'll have at 6 o'clock. Back to you.
So many twists. All right, Sean. Well, time is running out at Eastern Michigan. 1 hour from right now, members of the teachers union are going to meet and decide if they're going to hit the picket line.
That vote is coming just 1 week into the new school year. Jason Colthorpe is live in the newsroom tonight with more on this story. Jason.
Yeah, Kim, talks stalled over the weekend, but everything could change tonight after 6 o'clock. We're watching that. Here's where the labor dispute over pay and health benefits stands. Faculty has been working without a contract since August 31st. Last week, the faculty union rejected the school's offer of a 6% raise in year 1 and a 2 or 2.5% increase in the following 4 years. A state-sponsored mediator is currently involved in that discussion. The union will vote tonight via Zoom, and we expect we'll get that decision fairly quickly. So what happens next with this? Well, if union members vote to strike, they could walk out as soon as tomorrow. And we should note, Michigan has a law preventing public school teachers unions from striking. So if faculty does hit the picket line, it would technically be illegal. A judge would then have to get involved and issue an injunction to stop the strike. Obviously, we'll be keeping you posted on all of this. Back to you.
Be watching it, Jason. Thank you. Meanwhile, Michigan State Police are investigating a murder in Inkster. Police made the discovery around 10 this morning at an apartment complex on Hickory Street. Troopers say they found a man shot several times in an apartment. The victim is a man in his late 20s to early 30s. So far, no word on a possible motive.
Let's take a look at the weather picture. The clouds have managed to part just a bit. There's a live look outside from our Mount Clemens sky cam. We didn't break 80 today, but that is going to change.
That's right. So let's get over to Kim Adams and the forewarned forecast. Hi, Kim.
Well, hello to both of you. We are warming up toward the end of the week, but right now we are very close to 80. City Airport did hit 80 last hour, now down to 79. That sunshine has popped Lapeer up to 79 as well. Notice the difference between Lapeer, though, and Monroe. Monroe still hanging on to the clouds as the clearing has gone from north down to the south. Here's the visible satellite, and you can see the clouds just kind of starting to break up and getting some clearing, late day sunshine, but a lot more sunshine is on the way for the day tomorrow and even into the end of the work week. 6 o'clock tonight, partly cloudy, 76. We'll continue to see those clouds scour out as we go through the overnight hours. It will drop down to about 59 for the overnight low, but summer's not quite done yet. We'll talk about it coming up in the forecast in just a couple of minutes.
Kim, the battle over abortion rights here in Michigan expected to come to yet another crescendo this week, and it all centers on the state Supreme Court.
At the center of that debate, a ballot proposal that would put the right to an abortion in the state constitution. Rod Maloney is live tonight with a look at what lies ahead. Rod.
Yeah, Kimberly, the group Reproductive Freedom for All, which is the pro-choice group, is appealing to the state Supreme Court. They want their ballot petition on the ballot. It's not there right now based on the Board of Canvassers. Now, there was no hearing today at the Supreme Court. In fact, we're told that there is likely not to even be a hearing on this case, but it's getting heard on an emergency basis. So what we're told the judges are going to do probably at this point is to hold a Zoom call and vote after they have read the pleadings. The pro-choice faction is beyond unhappy with the State Board of Canvassers. Spokesperson Darcy McConnell put out this statement today, quote, "The Board of Canvassers had one job, to certify the signatures as recommended by the Elections Bureau and put Proposal 3 on the ballot. Reproductive Freedom for All not only met the signature threshold, but exceeded it. We have asked the Michigan State Supreme Court to do the board's job and put this measure on the ballot so that more than 730,000 Michiganders who read, understood, and signed this petition will not be disenfranchised," end quote. Of course, the anti-abortion group Support Michigan Women and Children's Kristen Paulo disagreed.
This form is fatally flawed, and as a result, the court has really no choice but to refuse to put this on the ballot or potentially in the Constitution forever. The correct number of mistakes for our Constitution is 0, not 60.
The mistakes she's talking about are a long run-on sentence without spaces that appeared on the petition forms that went into the field for signatures. A group of University of Michigan professors and even Attorney General Dana Nessel filed legal briefs slamming the Board of Canvassers and supporting the pro-choice side. Nessel went so far as to put pictures of the U.S. Constitution in her filing, saying its handwritten words often don't have spaces between them. Her point, spaces between words is not a reason to keep a ballot proposal from voters. Now, several Michigan prosecutors have also joined Nessel in expressing their concerns to the Supreme Court. Kristen Paulo told me today that she responds to all of this activity by saying that gibberish does not belong in the Michigan Constitution. Back to you.
So, Rod, do we know when we might hear from the Supreme Court?
Well, here's the thing. Friday is the day that the votes, the ballots need to go out, okay? So we're told that the Supreme Court is well aware of all of this and is likely to have a decision maybe Thursday or even Friday as to whether they go out with the wording on it with this ballot proposal. So we'll wait and see. We're certainly monitoring for it.
Yeah, got to be a quick turnaround. Okay, Rod, thanks.
The White House confirms President Biden will indeed be coming to the North American International Auto Show. He'll travel to Detroit next Wednesday to visit the show. Of course, last week, the president mentioned that he planned to attend, noting that he's a car guy. His visit will coincide with the auto show's Media Day. That's a week from tomorrow.
Canadian authorities are still searching for one of the brothers suspected in a deadly stabbing spree that killed 10 people in the province of Saskatchewan.
Just a horrendous story that has shocked the entire nation. On Monday, Damian Sanderson was found dead in a grassy area near a home. Police say his injuries were not believed to have been self-inflicted. His brother, meanwhile, Miles Sanderson, is still on the run, perhaps in the city of Regina. Police say they believe he has been wounded. Sanderson has been charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, and breaking and entering into a residence. Officials confirm that a body found in South Memphis, Tennessee on Monday is that of Eliza Fletcher.
The 34-year-old mother of 2 was kidnapped Friday while jogging near the University of Memphis campus. Investigators say Fletcher's body was later located behind a vacant duplex apartment. 38-year-old Cleotha Abston was arrested Saturday in connection to Fletcher's disappearance. Abston now faces several murder charges.
Coronavirus numbers are out for the week. A slight drop in cases from last week. 15,854 new cases over these past 7 days, so the average standing at 2,200 reported cases per day. 83 more deaths being reported over that same 7-day period.
Repairs of the broken water main causing problems for Metro Detroiters since mid-August are finally complete. Crews finished installing the new pipe after a leak was found August 13th at the treatment facility in Lake Huron. The leak affected water pressure in more than 20 Metro Detroit communities, leading to a temporary boil water notice. The Great Lakes Water Authority says the new water main is expected to begin operation by September 21st.